Request for special.
10 o'clock.
Okay, would that be like a
Tuesday?
Right, so yeah, it's gonna ask. Right.
Yeah.
So when you see sell.
Sir, you'll get signed.
I mean, that's.
Yes, you're right.
In the back.
Thank you. Ready when you are.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna make sure everybody's mic is turned on. I'll call me in order and we can stand for the pledge, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go ahead, the roll call.
Commissioner Robbins,
Here.
Commissioner Walter,
Here.
Commissioner Bunnick, Commissioner Wessel.
Here.
Commissioner Campbell,
Here.
Commissioner Alguier,
Yes.
Chairman Yoder.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Next up, we got approval of the board minutes. Looks like we got 4 sets of minutes here. Hopefully you had a chance to review them. Mr. Wessel?
I move to approve the meeting minutes for the regular session Tuesday, November 18, special session Thursday, November 20, executive board session Tuesday, December 9, and committee of the whole Tuesday, December 9.
Second.
Moved and supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Next up, we have approval of the agenda. I don't believe we have any late additions or deletions, so. Mr. Money?
Yeah, I would like to add Park and Rec appointment to 3D, as well as other boards and commission appointments.
We just added on to 3D.
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't the title include all?
I don't think we made any appointments in the committee of the whole. I think that's, is it on there? I don't remember.
No, it's not on.
Right, so that's why the addition is being added.
But we can make other,
If what?
but we can do other appointments other than just that.
There's a whole list, yeah, from the committee of the whole that were approved, so Commissioner Bunnick's just adding it to that because it was.
So I move to accept the agenda as amended.
We got Commissioner Robbins here.
I would like to remove from the consent agenda item 2C. I am backing, but I'd like to have some discussion.
Okay, we'll move it down to. Just right above, we'll do 1C in that.
And we have an additional person who has indicated wish to be on boards. So I hope that there's an open discussion.
I did put on that. Did you get that or not?
That was this afternoon. That was this afternoon.
I believe, because I think at the last committee, the whole, we agreed to advertise for that, so I wonder if we should let that play through before we make that appointment. That'd be my recommendation.
2C.
1C.
Action item 1C.
Oh, action, okay.
And Steve, the Board of Commissioners, that's not properly stated as far as what actually happened. Conflict of interest and complaint policy. If we could move that down, I'd also like a discussion about it. So can we put it in there?
Okay, so we'll just make it the new 4.
That's fine.
Which one is that?
That was, remember, we were gonna create an ad hoc committee, but this just says conflict of interest and complaint policy.
Keep up with those changes. I did.
I move to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
All right, moved and supported, discussion. Not all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. You. All right, next up, we have patients, an update from our administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last meeting, there's a couple of things of note that I think would be of interest to the general public as well. First of all, we received notification in late November that the Michigan Department of Treasury has announced the 2006 inflation rate multiplier that's used to calculate the capped property tax increase for capped properties and the Headley millage reduction fraction. That rate was set at 2.7%. So if you don't sell your property within the during 2006, your taxes should remain no more than 2.7% higher than their current rates. That's a reduction from 3.1 that was applied in 2025 and 5% increases that occurred in 2020 through 2024. That's a rate that's imposed by the state of Michigan. Secondly, we received a fairly extensive dam inspection report that's required every periodically. I believe it's 3 years, or I believe it's 3 years for the Leelanau Dam. That dam is classified by Michigan Department of Environmental and Great Lakes as a high hazard dam because because of the potential for significant personal injury or property damage should it fail. The report indicated there were no serious matters that needed immediate correction. There was a recommendation to do an epoxy crack filling of one of the upstream piers, estimated currently at between $30,000 to $50,000 to do that, and it's recommended to be completed by 2027. The most significant finding was there was continued concrete spalling and exposed rebar in the left abutment for the dam, and that is a fairly significant repair that would involve steel sheeting and underpinning. That could be as much as between $250,000 and $550,000 as indicated in the report. And that's recommended to be completed by 2029. So this is something to be aware of for our future capital improvement program. That is also a general fund expense. There's the dam is required by a lake level judgment issued by the Leelanau County Circuit Court many years ago, and that previous boards have determined to be a general fund expense rather than a expense for the surrounding property owners. Also, we received some fairly good news that we have received notification of approval of a DNR trust fund grant for development of the Veronica Valley Lower Pond Trail improvements. That's a $50,000 grant. We would expect that to be funded by the state of Michigan sometime during 2026. Oftentimes, there's a lot of steps that are necessary to verify our continued eligibility for the grant. And we expect to have that taken care of during 2026, and very likely we will be initiating the project sometime during our fiscal year 2027. We also did complete the Miles Kimmerly disc golf improvements that were recommended by the Parks Commission and approved by this board. Those have been completed. Finally, we did have a fairly significant, some fairly significant information regarding the health insurance to update you on. We have received some estimates from Blue Cross Blue Shield. If we continued to use our self-funded, the self-funded insurance that we've had in the past, they are estimating we would save approximately just a little bit less than $250,000 if we were to move to the $50,000 stop loss as previously discussed. We have always been, Blue Cross Blue Shield has always estimated considerably higher than we've ended up experiencing as our actual payments during the year. But that amount still remains over $3 million. So that's something that we need to consider, whether there will be any change in the plan design as previously discussed, with perhaps changing the drug program to a 3-tier rather than a 2-tiered process. We've also received a quote from the West Michigan Health Insurance Pool. They have indicated to us that we would be in a position to reduce our overall cost with a fully insured premium program, but that would definitely require a change in the plan design. It would require the adoption of a 3-tier drug card, and also an increase in the deductibles that are currently imposed, increase from 100, 200 limits to probably something closer to 1,000, 3,000, or 1,500, 3,000. But that they offer a myriad number of plans that could be adjusted. We could just implement the drug card, for example. A lot more information to come on this, but I'm a little bit encouraged that may be a very good alternative for pursuing some budget certainty regarding the insurance program. So unless there's any questions on that, that's my report for the board this evening.
Questions for Administrator?
So we'll be dealing with that in more detail in January.
Yes, and in fact, I recommend that you may want to convene a meeting where the only issue that you address is the renewal of insurance. You probably want to hear from our current consultant, and because that is now our current consultant is now part of a much larger 200 person insurance agency that specializes in this sort of thing. We met with them. They have a significant additional resources for both plan design and, more importantly, monitoring of our claims processing. They have direct tap into Blue Cross Blue Shield's database, so we can get a more real-time review of where we stand as far as claims go at any given time. I was pretty encouraged with the meeting we had with them, and I still like the idea of self-insured insurance, because it gives you a greater degree of control. But again, it also has a greater degree of uncertainty because of the possibility of significant claims that are out of your control. So I think you're going to need to very carefully weigh the alternatives for both types of programs. And I think it would be a very good idea if you were to schedule a special meeting just to address that issue. But it could very easily take place, in the first half of January.
Well,
Yeah, I thought it was a really good report. I especially appreciate the detail with the health And we're gonna be dealing with that, it's coming straight at us. I have a general comment about the report itself. Is that included? Can we get that included in our minutes, your report?
That's one of the reasons that I did discuss it here. If you would like me to. If we were going to put it in the minutes, I'd want to expand it even beyond what it was that I provided to you in my report of last Friday. But yes, we could include that in the minutes directly.
Yeah, I'm not looking for more expansion, but I am looking for regularity in the report. And I think it's important to communicate, not just to us, but I like the idea of it being available to the public. I like it be available to the media because it may be directed at us, but these are the folks who need to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you did a really good job on it. So, but I know how much time it is. So I'm not looking for more detail. I'm looking for more, here's what's going on. Get a hold of me if you need more information. I don't want you to work more, but I want to communicate more, if you would.
The only concern that I have, there are certain things that I need to communicate to you that are very much interim to a final decision, and that would not be subject to public disclosure until they're brought to you for final decision. But with that in mind, I certainly would be, I don't think there's anything in this report that I would not want to be publicly be disclosed publicly. So we could certainly provide that to the clerk and include that in the minutes of this meeting.
I just think they need to know not just the things that we're doing that we're succeeding, but also the challenges that we're facing. And I don't know if this is stepping beyond where I should be, but I have a concern about waiting to hire the deputy finance director. Now, this is a decision between you guys. I just know sometimes you wait and you're down to 2 out of a 4-person. And these are my thoughts. I don't know if they're our finance director's thoughts, and I'm not sure how everyone else feels. But to me, you got an open position. You got auditors coming in a couple of weeks. Even if you're just hiring a guy, you don't have enough time to spend a lot of time with onboarding. Give him a seat, let him see the place, and get him in here, because I just see a big rush coming from that. So that's just my thoughts, and I'm not trying to step on your toes on it. I know it's your decision.
Correct.
But that's my belief.
I can certainly address that. In fact, I've had significant conversations with Kathy on this issue. And initially our plan was that we would hire the clerk first, get that person trained fully on accounts payable, and then hire the deputy finance director. Unfortunately, we've had a problem that, without going into a lot of detail, we did have somebody onboarded for the clerk's position. And then for some unforeseen personal issues, that person was not able to accept the position. We withdrew the offer. And Kathy and I have discussed the fact that we do need to hire the deputy finance director sooner. And our plan is to do that advertisement and recruiting in mid-January. I don't believe that we can do that anytime sooner than that. But I do agree it's something we need to get going before we have the clerk position hired.
Thank you, Bill, for your time.
Any other questions for our administrator? All right. Now we'll move on to public comment. Anybody has 3 minutes, anything agenda specific to address the board tonight? Appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Do you have any public comment, Mr. Sausage?
I'm Steve Tostage from Solon Township. Thanks for listening to me. This is regarding the fleet leasing. First of all, I don't have any preferences whether you lease or you buy as you had in the past. My concerns are that our tax dollars are receiving the most value for the dollar spent. And our taxes have gone up significantly over the past few years, and it doesn't seem like there's been a significant concerted effort to try and contain spending. Also, that the county adhere to a well thought out procurement process, take into account leasing versus buying. As the board administrator and as the board and the administrator sourced all the specific vehicle info, projected the best possible overall decision. From past discussions, I have heard there's only been one vendor participating in the leasing program and one car dealer. That may have changed. But I think that we need as many people involved into a significant spend like this as we can without making just quick decisions. And the last thing is that the leadership, you guys of the county plan proactively regarding the required task at hand with sufficient time to tackle the issues. I've seen several issues lately being pushed through quickly through the decision-making process. And I just feel that you need to give each other enough time to make proper decisions without pushing things through the agenda too quickly. Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, thank you everybody for coming. Next up, we have commissioner comments. Mr. Robbins.
I'd like to take a moment to thank our senior services department there. I had the privilege last Thursday to assist them with handing out their Christmas bags, gifts, whatever.
Comfort and joy.
What's that?
Comfort and joy.
Comfort and joy. It was an eye opener. You know, when you sit up here as a commissioner and you take care of your committees and you listen to the other people and you kind of get involved, you kind of don't. I have to say that I was assigned to senior services last January and I learned a lot. I learned to appreciate what they do. And it was really, I don't know, I don't even have words for it. Last Thursday, I had like eight people between Mark's district, Chairman Yoder's, and in my own district. But you know, you'd be surprised the people out there, the smile on their face, and you know, 91-year-old, yeah, she enjoyed the bag, but I couldn't get out of there because she just wanted to talk, and that was very rewarding. I mean, you see the people that you don't realize how they try to survive in our county. I mean, one lady, she's shoveling her sidewalk with one of those walkers that you sit in. And just stuff like that. I mean, it just, you know, it's very rewarding, and I really appreciate their department and everything they do.
Other commissioner comments? All right. Not, we'll move on to consent agenda. Here's a quick statement here. Purpose of the consent agenda is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one motion without discussion. Any commissioner may ask that any item on the consent agenda be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will automatically be respected and will not need a second. Commissioner wish to remove anything? All right, so take a motion. Mr. Wessel.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, supported. The roll call.
Commissioner Wessel,
Yes.
Chairman Yoder,
Yes.
Commissioner Alguier,
Yes.
Commissioner Flanagan absent. Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
and Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
6-0, 1 absent.
Thank you. Next up, action item number 1 We had HR and item number 8, sheriff's office policy tracking software.
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners waive the bid policy and purchase Howard DMS software as presented. Funds not to exceed $31,000 over 3 years to come from IT department. Line item 636. Many zeros, 801. Authorized HR to apply for MMRMA grant. And the board chairman shall sign the first.
Supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Carried 7-0. All right, next up, we have item number B, new job description, sheriff's office manager. Mr. Robbins,
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners add the new job description, sheriff's office manager to the Teamsters union contract in grade 2 as presented.
supported, discussion? Mr. Money?
Has the union agreed to this?
I met with the Teamsters Union representative and forwarded copies of not just the job description, but a proposed letter of understanding that would express their agreement to that. Sent that to him and have not heard back yet, but he did indicate that he didn't think he'd have any problem with it, but
I mean, we should really be approving it before they do, I would think.
the job description is really not subject to the union's consideration. It's really the letter of understanding that they have that they would need to approve. We have that set up as item 3E that we could consider in closed session if you deem you'd like to do that. We've discussed this issue publicly, and I've already provided the union with a copy of the proposed letter of understanding, and we would implement this only if you approve and they do as well. I don't know that a closed session is necessary, but I do have copies of the letter of understanding. If you can review it, it's up to you whether you go into closed session to do so.
But we usually don't approve something till the union has approved it. You know, we don't go ahead in case they change something or want to do something different. And that's the normal procedure.
The only comment that he gave to me is he didn't think that he had any problem with one of his union members being paid more money.
Could we make it contingent upon getting
Sure.
a letter of understanding?
Yes, and basically, it's usually my recommendation to you, any contract that you want to sign, it really should be signed by all parties until it comes to you. So I agree with Commissioner Bunnick in that sense. It just hasn't happened yet. So, and we really don't want to delay this until a decision in January. So if it is going to be implemented, we want to have the pay being able to reflect the new rate. And we've already, and our last pay period for 2025 actually expired on Friday. So the next pay period is a 2026 pay period. So you won't be able to act before your next meeting.
Well, rather than pass something that perhaps we would have to end up rescinding, the person who made the motion and the seconder, would they agree to make that contingent on approval of the union?
Mr.
A letter
Robbins?
of understanding from the
It's
union?
my understanding that, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dyer, that, I mean, if the union doesn't accept it, the sheriff has the option of making it non-union, so he's getting the position.
Right.
So whether the union, accepts it or not, if they turn it down, the sheriff has the option of making it non-union. So he's moving forward with this position.
So you have, the approval of I think what you're saying, and I would agree, is the approval of the job description is independent of the approval of the letter of understanding with the union. So
I think what you said is that as things stand now, Without that letter of understanding, we're kind of in a pickle. But without the letter of understanding, the sheriff could push this through. He would make the change, then it would come back to us for our decision. That seems to me like that would be the logical order to go.
If the union turns it down, he wants to make it non-union, which he's allowed to do.
And then we can do our thing.
Commissioner Wessel?
I think our responsibility in this agenda item is to approve a job description, which the union doesn't do. That's our job. That's management's job, between the sheriff and us, to approve the job description. That's all we're doing here. I think. Correct? Mr.
That's
Gass?
what the motion says, yeah.
All right, any other discussion on that? All right, if not, all in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carried 5-2. All right, next up, we have the item number 1C, which is down from, it's just the purchase of the safety glasses for ERT. We have a motion on that.
What was the original?
On page 2.
Yeah,
I found it.
2C, yep.
All right. That the Leelanau Board of Commissioners approved the purchase of 45 pair of warehorse black matted frames, photoceramic lenses for the Northern Michigan Emergency Response Team from the Warbird Protection Group, with the funds come from the Sheriff's Office donation expense line item 101-225-301-727-004 for an amount that not to exceed $2,452.50.
Board discussion, Mr. Robbins?
I'm for this, but I'm going backwards. I just don't wanna, I feel like we're opening up a can of worms here in the future, because if you remember how that went down last week, the sheriff was here talking about lease beds to Grand Traverse County, and he happened to throw this. We had already approved our agenda, and then he threw this at us, and we did not waive board rules to make a motion on this. I want this to move forward. I don't want to wait till January, but we have to have some housekeeping here, make sure that we're a little more careful next time, because it could have been a lot more money. And I think also from what I've heard too, I think goes back to the administrator. I hate throwing things on his plate, but I think we need to talk to, or the administrator needs to discuss with our department heads, elected heads, that when we vote on stuff on Tuesday, that does not mean it's official. So that they can go out and buy that day. They have to wait till Tuesday night. So I wish that maybe should be addressed. And I'd like to see also maybe after the first year that we look at our county policy on donations, because the issue that I have with this is it was donated money. If it was donated money designated for these classes, fine, but I don't believe it was. These classes are going to 45 members of people outside of our county that are not even involved in Leelanau County. And I think we gotta be careful that we're not, our donations should stay for our own people and our own department. What's that? In our own budget. So I think our policy needs to be addressed at the first year. We can maybe look at that. Other than that, I'm for it, but I just wanted to throw a couple things out there before we vote. That just did not go down properly last week.
Any other discussion?
Can I ask you what would we should have gone back, changed the agenda, amended the agenda? What would have been the proper procedure when something comes up at that point in the meeting?
I think it would have been a motion to, you can change the agenda during the course of the meeting, but it's not a normal thing to do. And particularly when you're dealing with a motion that spends money. not be the normal course of action to take place. I don't have a copy of your rules handy, but I think Commissioner Robbins' comments are well stated. I made a note to develop a policy regarding donated items or donated cash. And perhaps we can look at the board rules as to how to deal with motions that arise during the course of the meeting.
Money?
Yeah, usually, or previously, they've just said we would, we vote to suspend board rules and want to add this in at a later time. And that's usually how we do it. And I think that's what Commissioner Robbins was saying, that we didn't do that and we just added it in. So we really needed to.
Should have done that.
Yeah, we should have suspended board rules to add this into our agenda.
Duly noted. Any other comments? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. All right, next up, we have item number 2, which is Parks and Rec, full-blown lease agreement revisions.
Yes, presented that at the last meeting. It's again, just an intent to revise the lease to permit the lessee that has a long-term lease with the county to use the poor barn for fundraising purposes. And it would require, I think we amended the motion to require further approval of the revisions once they're negotiated with and completed by legal counsel.
Motion. Commissioner
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners permit the modification of the 2008 lease agreement with the Leelanau County Historic Preservation Society, authorize the county administrator to negotiate modification of the lease as presented and subject to approval as to form by the county's legal counsel.
It's not quite, we did. We amended it so it would come back to us.
Yes, that's correct. So I took out the last sentence that was in the first proposal, so
No,
that
it
it
has to come
it
back
has
to
to
you.
come back to you.
Oh,
for
okay,
approval.
without even saying that. it
Yes.
has to come back.
And you'd have to approve it. Just, all it does is authorize the negotiations.
Thank you.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
All right. 3 seconds. So, discussion. Commissioner Bunny?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk to them, I hope that you will not allow them to sell alcohol behind the county parks. And even then, selling food, I mean, we have schools that have soccer games there, we have, the summer things going on, so. I mean, if we allow that on the county land, and especially with alcohol, I don't think that we would be able to keep ourselves out of a lawsuit if there was some kind of an accident. So I just hope that when you come back with the contract, that those type of things are not in there.
If, certainly that'll be discussed with them if they insist that that's necessary for their fundraising purposes. What we would address that in the lease with respect to the insurance and controls regarding those sales if they were to occur. I'm not sure that they still want to do that at all, but that would be a subject of discussion during the negotiations for sure.
Right, because the 4-H barn is right there next to it, the corral is, and then across the street is the Little League, Pee Wee League and all that, where they have baseball, so.
Yeah, I don't think they certainly don't intend to sell alcohol for the sake of selling it. It would be done in the course of a fundraising event where typically you'd have you get a drink ticket or something like that during the course of the event. So we would have those controls in place if they still want to do that. And it'll be subject to your approval regardless once those negotiations occur.
Discussion? I'll just add, last week I was at the Casson Township Board meeting, and this is where Miles Kimberly is located within their township, and I brought that up. And there was one board member that was strongly adamant that no alcohol be allowed, and I think part of that, they have a policy in their township that they don't allow any vendors to have alcohol on any of their township property,
Sure.
so I just wanted to convey that, to let you know that, so. Not, all those in favor of that motion say aye,
Aye.
all opposed say nay.
Nay.
Carried 6-1. All right, next up, we have, I don't
Can
know.
I interrupt for just a second?
Yep.
I hate to send our administrator out on a wild goose chase. Maybe it would be good of this board to give him an indication as to whether we would reject a contract with alcohol or not. I mean, it seems to be that's the tipping point for some votes.
I think the way that I would approach it would be to indicate there's a pretty strong reluctance on the part of some members to permit alcohol. And if it were to be permitted, it would require, again, very significant controls on how that's done, that typically what they would do is either become licensed themselves for a special event or hire somebody that is licensed by the Liquor Control Commission to provide that, have all the appropriate training that's necessary to sell alcoholic beverages and to have the proper insurances in place to protect themselves and the county as well. That would be the way I would approach it. If that is too burdensome for them, then it would just not be included in the discussion. I think I've got a pretty clear idea on what the result might be once it comes back to you for consideration.
Yeah, and there's also that board issue, that I think has to be negotiated too. I think that's, because I think you're right, earlier you said about that creates a liability for us. Maybe it'd be good if that was eliminated.
I agree.
Next up, we have item number 3A, which is split leasing negotiate contract. And before there's a motion, I would just like to add, I know the motion is written out here. It says to authorize the county administrator to negotiate a managed fleet. I'd like to add in there our treasurer and our finance director as well. That way I think it'd be wise to just have a couple people involved in that, since that's, as our administrators often referred to as the finance team of the county. I think it would help satisfy some of that, and then I want to offer more comments after the motion gets made too, on some of my suggestions on that.
If I could, Mr. Chair, just give a brief overview of what this really entails, since I think there are some misunderstandings of how it would work if we were to take this route, if you would permit that.
Go ahead.
First, I want to emphasize to everybody, and I know you as board members understand this, but perhaps the public does not. This is something that we've been talking about with this board since at least before your first budget hearing back in the early summer of this year. We had a presentation from Christopher Tyner, who is the representative of enterprise fleet leasing. So this is not something that we've been looking at in a haphazard or rushed manner. This is something we've been talking about for well over close to 6 months. As far as looking at other potential vendors, the motion anticipates that you would accept the national RFP that was done by Sourcewell that selected Enterprise Fleet Leasing as the approved vendor and use their contract for modified for Michigan for purposes. If we were to enter into a contract with them, we would get both the Sourcewell pricing and use the Sourcewell contract, and that would satisfy our requirement for evaluating other vendors through an RFP. Beyond those procedural matters, I think everybody needs to consider that this is not a traditional closed-end retail lease like you would be permitted to get, that I would walk in, that the car that I'm driving right now, is a leased vehicle, but it's a retail closed-end lease that has a limit regarding the number of miles that can be driven. There are penalties that are incurred if I exceed that mileage. And at the end, there is a value which I can purchase the vehicle if I so choose, or just turn it over to the dealer that I purchased from. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about an open-ended retail, or excuse me, open-ended wholesale commercial lease. You can't even participate with enterprise unless you have at least 20 vehicles involved. There are at least 5 other counties that are of similar size. Wexford, Newaygo, Oceana, Osceola, and Antrim counties all use this process as well. So we're talking again about an open-ended lease that really is much more like financing the vehicles over the term of their useful life. It's much more like a retail, or excuse me, it's much more like an installment purchase contract where you pay for the vehicle over a period of time. The terms of the lease are based upon our historical use of vehicles. For example, they're proposing that we have a 5-year lease with an estimated usage of 20,000 miles per year. That's not a requirement of enterprise. That is based upon our historical use of sheriff's patrol vehicles. Our use of other vehicles is even significantly less than that 20,000 per year. But again, the terms of the lease are based upon our use and our ability to sell those vehicles before they hit 100,000 miles or 5 years of use. And they would have, at the end of that useful life, they would have a value that would be owed to us. So for example, if the lease was a 5-year lease that was fully depreciated, or excuse me, fully paid at the end of the lease, if that vehicle was worth 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, whatever it might be, that money comes back to us rather than back to the lease company. It comes to us and we use it either for a reduction in, well, we use it primarily for paying a portion of, or a down payment of, the next lease of the next vehicle. That's the way you actually save money by using this system. Again, it's a completely different process than the retail lease that you're would be familiar with if you lease a vehicle for your own personal use. The other thing that I think is important that you be aware of is Van's Garage has been approved as part of Enterprise's network for maintenance, vehicle maintenance. And they've also approved Radio North, the company that normally outfits, I think it's called Radio North.
Yes.
The Kathy would correct me otherwise, that outfits our sheriff vehicles. And they are actually now outfitting Antrim County's patrol vehicles as we speak. So this is a process that they're very familiar with. And so essentially what we would be doing in that context would be to fund not just the purchase of the vehicles, but the purchase of, or the cost of upfitting the patrol vehicles with that equipment. It's about $15,000 of additional equipment on top of the $55,000 to $60,000 cost of the sheriff's department vehicle in the first place. What we're asking in the motion is only to permit us to negotiate with Enterprise and get an actual contract that you can react to, instead of this hypothetical, it might be this way, it might be that way. Negotiate an actual contract with them that you can react to, and approve it only if it is less than the amount that we budgeted for vehicles in the 2026 budget year. And it is also financially as good or better than purchasing the vehicles. That's the motion we're asking you to do and the criteria we're asking you to consider when the contract comes back to you for review. If it's not financially feasible to actually save money by leasing, we wouldn't pursue that, and we would have to do some budget changes to go ahead and purchase the vehicles. But this would only be something we would implement if it actually does save us money, or at least it's not, doesn't cost us any more than it would cost if we were to purchase the vehicles, rather than taking upwards of $300,000 in cash and putting that and using that to buy vehicles that we're looking to acquire. That's the basis for the motion from the perspective of administration. Again, if it is not financially advantageous to the county, we wouldn't pursue it.
Mr. Wessel?
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners authorize the county administrator, the treasurer, and the finance director to negotiate a managed fleet vehicle leasing contract for further review and for approval with Enterprise Fleet based on the Sourcewell Nation RFP award, which is consistent with the county's purchasing policy, provided that the first year cost is no more than the 2026 budget allocation for vehicle acquisition, and the terms of the lease are financially equivalent or better when compared to the cost of the cash purchase of equivalent vehicles.
All right, moved and supported, discussion? Mr. Money?
Yeah, I still, I'm having some problems with this. I can't believe that after leasing a car for 5 years, we can sell it and keep the money for it. That just doesn't, and that's just what he said just now, is that we get to keep the 20,000 and use it as a down payment on the next car. And I don't know how that would work for a company and how they would be able to do that. So let's say we're paying, 5-year lease, we've actually paid for the full car.
Mr. Wessel?
I don't see what the downside of is negotiating and coming back to this board with all those details and the evidence that in fact we can do it for what's being discussed.
Any other discussion? Mr. Campbell?
Just a question that, Mr. Dyer, does this meet our bid policy?
The motion anticipates that or indicates that the national RFP vetted by Sourcewell, and we're a member of the Sourcewell group, that satisfies our policy.
Well, that's what the motion says. My question was, does this motion, does this purchase satisfy our bid requirement? Because I look at our bid requirements. It says competitive bids required, minimum of 3 bids encouraged, state bids may be utilized when applicable. Sourcewell is a for-profit company.
No, it is not. It is a Minnesota state purchasing group, and we're a member of that. They do, it's a government group that does the RFP process, and they permit others to essentially bootstrap their process because it is so good and so thorough.
I apologize for that, because when I saw that they were taking a percentage of the contract, and the percentage is not mentioned, I don't know how much it is, but in our contract with them, they take a certain percentage, which is not included in the contract, and what we sign off the top. Well, they say that the company has to pay, which company being the leaseor, has to pay it. So I assume they were a for-profit company because they're making money off of this. But I read this again because I gotta tell you, it just is slick. I can't use another, that just is the word, how this is written. It says the Sourcewell National RFP Award which is consistent with the county's purchasing policy. What that means is they go get competitive bids. Our policy does not say that any other outside group other than state bids may be utilized. It just doesn't say that. So if our policy doesn't say that we can use a third party other than the state to go out and do our work and collect bids, we're violating our policy. And, you know, even if there are votes here to pass this, I would strongly suggest that rather than use this wording, you say that we waive our bid policy.
I will make a friendly amendment to my motion to say that. I do believe that it's a state bid, just not Michigan state bid, but let's to be safe, just amend the motion to say waive the bid policy.
Second support that. No. Any other discussion? Commissioner
I
Alvear?
would just like to add, we've been talking about this for a lot longer than 6 months.
It's
We've been
only the
talking
6
about
months
it
that
for
I'm familiar
years.
with. It's only the 6 months that I'm familiar with.
So I am very pleased that we're gonna actually take a step and go beyond talking and look at some real numbers. Then we can make an informed decision.
Commissioner Walter?
And it's not a done deal. It's part of the process. Look at what our options are. So we can't get that if we don't commit to making a decision. And we're not doing that right now. We're standing around, well, I don't know if I want to make a decision. I don't know if I don't. You know, let's wait 6 months and we'll do it again. We're going to explore the options and make a decision on what we find out. But if we don't find out, we'll never know.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Robbins?
I support Mark on that. Same thing, but for a second, as I look at it, with Commissioner Campbell saying waiving, I don't think we're waiving, we don't need to waive anything until we actually get a contract. You know, we're doing is exploring, and when we get the contract, then we can discuss where you're at. But right now, we're just, you know, we're not buying the farm, we're just talking to the realtor.
I would just say, I'm not the one who, I didn't write this. And so it's one thing to not have anything of the bid process in there, but it's another thing to misrepresent as though this actually accomplished our bid process. It won't, doesn't mean you can't pass that in the future. And I also say, well, you know, you're only looking at one farm. There are other farms out there. I really don't know why we don't put this off for 3 months, go ask for RFPs, and then we have a comparison and we know what other companies would provide us. So there are other companies in this business.
Commissioner Walter?
I'd like to call the question.
Just want to give a few suggestions, but all right. We gotta have a vote on calling the question, so you need a second on that?
Second.
No.
Thank you.
All in favor of calling the question, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carried 5-2. All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Carried 5-2, I think.
And my name's Campbell and Bunnick.
Yes.
I didn't hear you.
No, that's what I thought.
Thank you.
Before we move on, the reason I voted no to call the question, we hadn't heard from the chair.
Oh, I see.
And I think the chair ought to, on a decision like this, have an opportunity to weigh in.
Well, and I'll,
Yeah, so, okay, so let's go back on the call the question, then it was a 4-3. Because I had Wessel and I had Bunnick and Campbell,
I had nay on, I had.
because that's okay,
called-
Steve said 4-5-2, so I just want to make sure it's 4-3.
I voted to call the question, yeah, because I figured I can speak after.
Okay,
the
but I had
fact, so.
Wessel, Bunnick and Campbell, I just want to make sure I have them right. Okay, thank you very much.
My only comments that I was gonna make as a recommendation to our administrator, based on the feedback I've been receiving and obviously some public comment today, is just when you come with this proposal, maybe have some hard data from other counties, comparables, which I know you're gonna do all that anyway, and just some, obviously, more hard data on our current fleet right now as to exactly what that brings, but you obviously have to do that if you come up with a contract anyway. So I know that'll all be common, but those were a few of my comments that I just think would be wise to satisfy some of the public's concerns and get more questions answered from that. So, but yeah, those are my comments. All right, next up, we have item number 3B, which is MSU extension contract for services. I believe we've got Jennifer here.
Good evening. Again, I'm Jennifer Berkey from Michigan State University Extension. I'm your District 3 Director representing and providing administrative oversight to this office. And so as part of my annual visit to you all is today, I'm seeking your approval of our 2026 Memorandum of Agreement of Services for MSU Extension. And again, this agreement just follows the approval of your annual 2026 budget. And this funding that's allocated in this agreement was included in that funding. So I'm here just seeking your approval of signature by your board chair for this agreement, which would allow us to continue to provide the MSU Extension services that I report on each year with you. And again, thank you for your partnership and consideration of this request.
Remind me, is this the same amount we did last year? Or
Yes.
is it up?
It's up about 3%, which includes like our cost and our escalation of our, I mean, it's a portion of our escalation. It's just fringe is our highest rate of increase right now. So,
Thank you.
yes. But it will be the same. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I just appreciate that we were a couple dollars under what we budgeted.
I always try to accommodate, sir. As I shared during our budgetary meeting that I had with you, I only ask for what we need to operate. I never ask for anything greater than that because we have other funding sources that we reach out to for those particular office needs. Obviously, we have our four-legged stool of funding, which is grant, state, federal, and county partnerships, and our staff are very entrepreneurial to get what they need through other sources, so.
Money?
Yeah, I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners approve the Michigan State University Agreement for extension services for Leelanau County for the period of January 1, 2026 to December 31st, 2026, in the amount of $145,981, with the payment to come from the account ending in 257801000.
Second.
Order discussion, Commissioner Campbell,
Go green.
Go white. Yes.
Commissioner Robbins.
You gotta have a little camera here. I want to amend it and give you another $5,000 if we don't get your bulletin board up by the end of the year.
No, we're very flexible. I know the bulletin board has been kind of something that you felt very obviously strong about in helping us to make that happen, and it's taken a bit of time, but we're very patient people, and we've been continuing to kind of punt, if you will.
December 31st, I will bring in a nail and hammer.
Well, I can tell you I signed the authorization for purchasing, so Lauren brought that down, so. But thank you for being sweet about it. But we've been improvising because that's just how we roll. We just kind of punt with what we have for sure. So thank you.
In fact, some degree of congratulations should go to Lauren Seifert, who worked on that and got a very good deal from what the original quote was, about half of the original quote from the same vendor.
Like I said, I didn't want to play ABC. I'll have to sneak in here in the middle of the night. But you both were.
Well, thank you. We're just hoping to obviously be able to advertise more of what we do to just kind of let the public know as they walk through your building about all the great opportunities that they have. I know Tanya's been very, very diligent about updating a table that's got pamphlets and things that have been sitting in our office, and the residents are taking those because she's always refilling them. So for us, it's just a mission of getting the word out. So thank you.
Regardless, I think you have a volunteer and I utilize that. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. 7-0.
Thank you. I hope you have a great new year. We'll see you next year. Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, next up, we have item number 3C, NetLink 2026 service agreement for printers and copiers. What are the?
Yeah, this is just a continuation of the existing or renewal of the existing service agreement for the copiers that we currently have in place. It's within our budget, and it's necessary for continued operation of the copier system that we currently have. Unfortunately, we received it the day after, we received the contract the day after the executive meeting, so that's why it's a late edition.
Mr. Money?
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners waive the policy of bid requirements and approve renewing the service maintenance agreements with NetLink for 2026 at a cost not to exceed $16,237.40. For the funds to come from the duplicating fund account ending in 000801000.
Second.
Supported, discussion?
Does it make more sense? I think we buy most of our copiers and such
We
as
buy-
that from
buy-
that link, so, I'm sorry. go ahead.
Yes, correct. We buy the copiers from them, they continue to provide the maintenance. So we have been talking to them about the idea of a combined lease maintenance agreement for the entire life of the copier, but we're not there yet.
I meant for, as far as not going out for bids on this. bid.
Correct, that's
They're the
why-
most- Yeah,
Yeah.
they know the copiers.
Exactly.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Carried 7-0. All right, next up, we have boards and commissions appointments. Go through that one by one. I believe they're all lined here, so,
Go one by one.
yeah, that's the way it's written out, I guess, so.
Move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners appoint Robert Miller to the Construction Board of Appeals, architect category for a partial 5-year term expiring on December 31st, 2030.
All right, moved and supported, discussion. Not all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Carried 7-0.
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners dissolve the Housing Action Committee.
Supported, discussion.
I'd like to amend that. I move to dissolve the Housing Action Committee and provide support for that task to the Housing Collaborative.
Supported,
So
is that an
amended
amendment?
by Wessel.
And I'll speak to what support means.
Okay, and you want it to say what again for me?
I move to dissolve the Housing Action Committee and provide support, or at least be involved in the Leelanau County Housing Collaborative.
So
I could speak to that amendment,
Yep,
please.
as well. You have that written down, you got it?
Well, I'm just trying to grasp it. So who's going to be involved? The county?
Well, that's what I'm going to speak to.
No,
But-
Wes will address
But
that.
I mean, does it need to be in the motion? That the county needs to be involved?
I want to hear out, let's hear what
Okay.
Commissioner Wessel says, and then maybe we'll know.
Okay, all right, I can get back to it.
The county's been in the role of supporting housing, and we've all agreed, unanimously agreed, that the Housing Action Committee has served its purpose. And we kicked off a housing readiness discussion. We worked with Housing North, but the job's not done. And there's realtors, and there's nonprofits, and there's Housing North, and there's a Leelanau Peninsula Housing Economic Foundation, and the Leelanau Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. They're all working right now to advance that cause. And I think somebody from the county needs to be at that table. And I'm not talking about monetary support. I'm talking about being a party at the table.
So it's another committee. So you want to dissolve a committee and form another committee?
I know the other committee exists, but I think it sends the wrong message to say, we're just shutting down the Housing Action Committee. We can't do it as a county,
Right.
but we don't want to send a message. We don't have any interest in what you're doing. And I think somebody, whether it's the planning department or it's the administrator, it's one of the commissioners, somebody's got to be at that table to see if there is a way that through the land bank or through the planning office or through collaboration with us, we can support housing in this county. I'm not suggesting per diem, I'm not suggesting a county committee, but involved.
Mr. Walter?
My take on this, if we have all those professionals that are doing this and going forward and moving on that, if they think the county can help them, they will come to us and ask. And then we will act on that action. To, if you put somebody on it, or we're just forming another committee then, and then we're trying to drive the situation. I think the best way to drive this is let the professionals do it. And if they need some help from the county, they can come and ask. And certainly the Brownfield, the Planning Commission, the Land Bank are all available for that and can do that themselves. Otherwise, we're just digging a hole deeper for the county. I mean, they're professionals, they know what they need. They'll come to us if they have a problem.
Commissioner Wessel?
We have been asked. The Housing Collaborative did reach out to our administrator and to me, who was serving on the Housing Action Committee. And they did say, we hope the county will remain at the table. And so we have been asked. Most of them are not professionals. Some of them, there's realtors on there. They're the board members of the Peninsula Foundation, the board members of the Chamber, the Sleepy Bear Dunes Board, the Northern Housing North Board, the Habitat for Humanity Board, the Homestretch Board. It's a group of people working together and trying to solve a problem in this county that we need to be at the table.
Commissioner Algar, then Commissioner Monica.
So I just need some clarification. Is the collaborative a group in itself?
Yes.
And we've never had a county board member appointed. It's a group that meets.
It's not a county.
Can I respond?
If Commissioner Algar is done, yeah.
Well, I
Question.
need clarification.
This board talked 6 months ago about dissolving the Housing Action Committee. And at that time, we referenced that there's this new initiative with all of the different parties, people that were at the table for the Housing Action Committee, but they've expanded it. And rather than the county spend county resources to do it, would we be at the table and offer support? And support in terms of ideas, in terms of collaboration. It's a group, it's not a 501c3 because all of the members of that collaborative come from their own groups. It's chaired by the Peninsula Economic Foundation.
Okay, so to finish now that you've clarified, I heartily support. This is such a huge issue for our citizens, for all of us here. I can't imagine anyone here wouldn't be glad if their children had an opportunity to raise their children here. And right now, our kids can't afford to buy a home here. I think this is something that it's wrong for us to neglect. It's very, very, very important. And I think it just makes sense for us to have presence.
Money?
Yeah, I know what Commissioner Wessel's trying, I believe he doesn't want to send a message that the county doesn't want to be involved. But Ms. Brown was here and she said that this Housing Action Committee has given the input to that has been very, very helpful. And I believe Ms. Bailey's here and she's the chair and she said that they have not met and they are not doing it. So I think you're conflating sending this or saying no to the Housing Action Committee is sending some kind of a message. But we've been told that it's not doing anything and it hasn't met for quite a while. So I think nobody's saying we're not going to get involved, that we're not going to help if we can. But all we're trying to do is get rid of the Housing Action Committee, which is just on the books and is not meeting and not doing things. So I would like that we not try to send two messages at once when we're just doing one little action that we've been told to do and everybody agreed to do it.
Commissioner Algar?
So perhaps in our organization meeting in January, when we talk about the boards and commissions we're on, that should be discussed. Because this is, so what would you say, that we're not dissolve this housing action.
No, I think Commissioner Bunnick's right. We're past the time that we need a county committee to do it. But we're not past the time to be at the table when the housing issue comes.
So then let's discuss that. Board participation in January when we do our boards and commissions.
You said support in your motion. Can,
Right.
if we just went with support, I think everyone would be fine with that. Does that move us on a little bit to a discussion? Probably isn't gonna result in anything solid tonight anyway. Is that
I'm fine with that.
okay?
So you're mentioning that just having it in there as the county board supporting that initiative
Yeah.
type of thing
Yeah.
that they're doing, right? Because that was my comment, like, I don't, if you're expecting a commissioner or somebody to be appointed that, like, that should be dealt with at their organizational meeting in January, with respect to that, you know.
We can define what support means later.
Okay, but just the county board to get behind their initiative type thing. Okay. All right, any other discussion on that amendment?
Sort of. Are you amending it then to say and provide support in the housing collaborative? Right now, it's and provide support or be involved in the housing collaborative. How would you like it? Do you want it amended?
I
before we
move to
vote?
dissolve the Housing Action Committee and support its elements.
Right,
Collaborative.
Support the collaborative.
support the housing collaborative.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first amendment is off and, okay,
Got that
and
one?
Robin seconded that one,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
This is gonna be great minutes.
All right, so you're pretty much just adding on to the end there that the county board supports the housing collaborative's efforts in the county.
Yeah, we're removing the First Amendment, right?
Yeah,
So
and going with the last.
I'm striking through that amendment, okay, all right, just making sure.
All right, any discussion, any other discussion? Not all in favor of that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. Now we're back to the original motion. All in favor as amended. All in favor of the original motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0.
I thank my colleagues for that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we're on to the next one. Land bank.
I move that Leelanau County Board of Commissioners appoint Josh Berman to the Land Bank Fast Track Authority for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2020.
Second.
Moved and supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
See the smile on his face?
6-1. All right, next up, we have Leland Dam Authority. Russell,
I move to approve the reappointment of Richard Thompson to the Leland Dam Authority in the engineer category for a 3-year term expiring December 31, 2028.
Second.
moved and supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. All right, we got another one on there.
I move to approve the appointment of Don Lund to the Leland Dam Authority in the riparian category for a 3-year term expiring December 31, 2028.
Second.
Moved and supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. Next up, we got.
I move that Leelanau County Board of Commissioners reappoint Steve Patmore to the Northwest Regional Airport Authority Zoning Board for 3-year term expiring December 31, 2020.
Second.
Moved and supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. So we got planning commission. Russell,
I move to approve the reappointment of Brian Finland and Tom Nixon to the Planning Commission in the Agriculture and Municipal Government category for a 3-year term expiring December 31, 2028.
Second.
supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. Okay, next motion. Mr. Algar,
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners appoint Steve Riddell, business category, to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term expiring December 31, 2028.
Second.
Supported, discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0.
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners appoint Christopher Logan to the tourism category to the planning commission for 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2028.
Support.
Supported, discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. Solid Waste Council,
I
Bunny?
move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners.
Commissioner Bunny.
We have board, park and rec. I just want, I put that on there.
You wanted, I didn't know if you wanted it at the end.
I just-
We still got 3 more to go.
Yeah, we
so
still
I
got 3
figured-
more to go.
Figure we'll do it when we get to the end.
Yeah, we have 3 solid waste. And then
You
park-
can't make the meeting any faster.
Try.
All right, go ahead, Commissioner Robbins.
I move that the Leelanau Board. I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners set aside board rules and waive the residency requirement for the Solid Waste Council.
Support. All right, moving supported, discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0.
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners appoint Robert Well to the Solid Waste Council for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2027.
Second.
Supported, discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0.
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners reappoint Mark Beaverheimer, Marcia Harris, and James Palmer to the Solid Waste Council for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2027.
Support. Moved and supported, discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 7-0. Commissioner Bunny, now you're up.
Yeah, I wanted to park and rec on here because last month we appointed Kathy Dawkins to Park and Rec for the end of this year and for a 3-year term. Kathy Dawkins is also on 2 other commissions. So that was why, that's a reason why we should do these things at the committee of the whole, where we do all the rest of them. Because that information was not brought to us. It was just recommended by the Park and Rec. You know, but I did talk with Lauren. We didn't receive any other requests for appointment to the Park and Rec. But part of that could be because we appointed her not knowing that she was on 2 other committees. I mean, we try to have just one person on one committee and we even frown on being on 2, but now she's on 3. I realize one of the boards almost never meets. It's it's, you know, Solid Waste Board of Appeals, which I don't know if they've ever met, but regardless, we, you know, she's still on another one where she meets and she wasn't even at the last Park and Rec meeting, which we made specifically to get her on there for this month. So I just, you know, I don't know that we want to try to, I mean, I guess I would prefer that we try to see if people want to be on the Park and Rec other than Kathy. And that we wait to make that, and we leave that appointment for the 3 years open and to see if we get permits, you know, for next year. And that would be the right thing to do, but I doubt if we'll do that.
Well, I don't know if we can. I mean, it would take, what, 5 votes to
Yeah.
turn that back?
It wouldn't, this time it takes 4 because it's been within the 30-day period.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I'd like to add that there are lots of people who serve on more than one board.
I agree, but we didn't even give us that opportunity to know that. And that's our own fault because for some reason we felt rushed to do it. Which I don't know why, because I wanted to put it for the full, you know, committee of the whole that we were discussing it.
Would you be open to asking Kathy which of her 3 committee assignments she'd be willing to give up?
Or 2, which if you want to give up 2.
I mean, that would be another option, but if she's on a committee that never meets,
I know.
that's hard to feel very good about that.
She can get that
And
one
if we
off.
do that, we have to ask everyone who's on 2 committees, which one they're willing to give up. I mean, are we really gonna go there?
Well, 3 committees.
Commissioner Robbins?
Just one thing really quick, we'll take up all night here. On behalf of Kathy, I did speak with her yesterday on another matter, and The reason she wasn't at that meeting, she's been sick for about 10 days in a row. Yeah, so that's why she missed that meeting. It wasn't like she just didn't show up.
I guess, yeah. Go ahead.
If I could make a suggestion that I think what led to this situation could be remedied if you were to adopt a board policy that would be part of your board action rules. That would indicate that appointments after a certain date, I would say November 15th, to fill a vacant position, be held until such time as you have your committee of the whole meeting. That way we could tell the committees that have a vacancy, sorry, we can't fill it until January. Or until whenever you hold your committee of the whole meeting. That's what put us in the position to do what we ended up doing, because there was a vacancy on a committee with a meeting that was pending before this meeting was going to take place. So that would solve your problem if you had such a policy, and I could, assist in the preparation of that. I'll make a note to bring that back for your consideration in your January organizational meeting.
That'd be good.
Just ask if we did that correctly. I don't remember the motion, because you're really filling the end of one term and then appointing for a second term, and I can't remember how that was.
That was what the motion said.
Oh, it did say that?
Yeah, and it said for a 3-year term.
And again, the reason for that was, does it make any sense to appoint somebody for a term that ends in December, during December, and then not appoint them to serve a full term? To staff, it didn't seem that would make any sense. So if you were to adopt the policy that I indicated, we wouldn't be in that position again.
So I just leave it like that. It's just something that upset me, and that it was did again, and I wanted to make a statement about it.
Okay, all right, we'll just have our administrator write something up and we'll deal with it at our organization meeting.
So Administrator, you're telling us on January that we should bring a lunch because we're gonna have a full plate?
Very possible.
And when has that never happened?
That's true. But
We
you
got, we got,
missed a
we
meeting,
got a
so-
short meeting, that's a short meeting last Sunday.
Next up, we have 3E, consider as of a closed session if needed for approval of union letter agreement. Are we doing that, or you need that? I don't know if we do.
Well, we discussed the issue when we considered the job description. We could go into closed session. Typically, you do consider these in closed session, but it's already been provided to the union. We've discussed the nature of the issue, and it could be handled in open session if that's your preference.
Has the union agreed to it and signed it?
As I indicated, it's been provided to them. They have not yet agreed.
Yeah, we surely shouldn't be discussing it, I don't think, until they agree to it.
We've already done this once.
I know. Our normal procedure is that we don't vote to approve something until it's been approved by the unions.
You have gone into closed session to
Yes.
consider whether you would approve something like this for purposes of later ratification by the union. You have done that. However you'd like to handle it. Would like to see it resolved by the next payroll period. That's the only problem.
It's a consensus on the board. Mr. Money,
Yeah, will we have an end of the year where we meet for?
Yes.
December the 30th. that will
Amendments and
be-
transfers,
We're planning on December 30th.
and maybe we could add that to that agenda at that
We can
time,
certainly do that.
if they've signed it.
We can certainly do that.
And if I could just clarify that this position is an hourly position. We still have 25 wages at the rate she's paid now. It would be a 1-1. So it really, if there's any increase that goes into effect for hourly, it's on 1-1. And that's payroll number 2. So we do have we're finishing the last payroll of 25 now. We are going to have wages earned at 25 rates payable January 2nd. So it's the payroll after that if you choose to proceed, that's when the hourly rate would go into effect for anyone. If at a 26 rate would be the second payroll with the exception of elected officials.
And does that make any difference?
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
if I'm hiring a new employer, I've created a new position, and you start 2 weeks into the next year, that's when your wage starts. It really doesn't make any difference. It's just, because we are done with the 25-year.
we just have people who are earning at 25 rates still for the last 2 weeks and 3 days of this year.
Right.
And
But,
so this
I mean,
is,
it really
I'm
doesn't
just
make any difference.
clarifying
If I promoted to
that
sergeant,
there's-
you wouldn't hold me till the next year to give me a raise.
yeah, I'm just clarifying, there's no urgency regarding, we're gonna miss the next pay rate. And this, if this goes forward, it's not until payroll 2, which is in mid-January.
Do we want to wait to add this to our special session on December 30th then? We'll just add it to that.
Table it until that time.
Okay.
Move to special session is when I put, is that all right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Move this agenda item to the special session.
Correct, on December 30th. Yep. All right, now we have the new item number 4. Conflict of interest policy that
Oh.
you requested to have moved down.
Well, we,
Leaving over there?
Forgot about it.
everyone's still here? We kicked this around a little bit, and we decided to form a committee, an ad hoc committee, and the more I thought through that, we have 2 members of the board, and it's probably not appropriate for Jim to be on an ad hoc committee of the county board. Participate, sure, be there, we want you there, but to be a voting member probably doesn't line up. I don't think it lines up with how any of our other, except for land banks and like that. We have committees, you wouldn't be a voting member. So I'm not sure. So I just wanted, we don't have a motion here in front of us. And
You do, you have a motion. The motion was made Tuesday.
yeah, to form a 3-person ad hoc committee.
Set up a conflict of interest committee to be comprised of. So you can change that motion.
Sure, I would feel more
Okay.
comfortable having Jim there, of course, but not as a voting member.
I did, yeah, that does read as that, but I didn't in my mind think he'd have a vote, so. but
I
it might be wise
didn't
to
either, and then
clarify
I
that.
started thinking about it, and it didn't make a lot of sense. So if you still want just us 2, we'd be glad to with Jim's assistance.
Generally, my experience is those kind of committees work through a consensus rather than a vote anyway, so I don't know that it matters. I don't care if I have a vote or not, but I do want to participate.
Well, there would be, we would end up with a recommendation to this board, which would require a vote.
So it would be.
So does anyone else want to sit on it? Here's a great opportunity to be unpaid and sit on a board, huh? Otherwise,
I'll do it.
what, okay,
All right,
Okay,
so
so I have a motion by somebody?
well, I'm waiting.
I would move that,
You got it written
the
out.
commissioners,
It's written
oh, I
out.
do?
Yeah.
Commissioners Elgire and Chairman Yoder be appointed to an ad hoc committee.
And yourself.
And yourself.
Don't forget me.
Do that all on your own.
To review and come up with changes to our conflict policy and our conflict of interest and grievance policy. Support.
All right, moved and supported, discussion. Not all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Good, so got that out of the way.
First meeting Friday. Right?
Yeah, Friday at 3.
Friday at 3.
Friday at
Yeah,
3.
can you do it? I'm sorry.
Oh, I gotta check my calendar.
And we got him now, he volunteered.
Yeah.
All right, review of financials. Kathy.
Any questions regarding late claims and accounts?
Questions for the finance director? Doesn't look like it.
Oh,
got
yes.
one.
You don't want to take questions on the amendments now? Okay.
Any special reports, staff commissioners? All right, Not, we'll move on to public comment. You have 5 minutes. Yes, sir. Back there.
Thank you, board, for taking the time to listen to me, and staff, thank you. My name is Jim Cantwell. I live at 6747 East Lake Bluffs Drive in Traverse City. In 2022, I have several of my neighbors with us today that are sharing these concerns, and there would have been others here if, but this has just kind of come on us pretty suddenly. In 2022, we embarked on a way to improve our what was then a dirt road. And so we talked to Steve Christensen about the possibility of paving our road. And we went through the whole process of what was going to be a drainage, what was going to become a drainage district, and the paving our road, and how that all worked together. The one thing we weren't told is that we were going to be assessed for maintenance on that road into perpetuity for the drains. So in the agreement, I'm going to leave this with your staff here. In the agreement that everybody signed, and it took a little bit of work to get 21 individuals in a subdivision to agree to put out between $19,000 to $26,000 to put a road in. That wasn't an easy task. So we were being led by the information that was given by Brian Sensi and by Steve Christensen. In a document that we signed, it says, we further understand that upon completion of the East Lake Bluffs Drain project, that will remain responsible for the maintenance and repair of East Lake Bluffs Drive and Lake Bluffs Court. So basically, he's saying the drain commissioners shall have the right to maintain or repair East Lake Bluffs Drain and South Lake Court Drain at his discretion, and then the members of the subdivision would maintain the actual road. And we all agreed to that. Not once in the whole process were we ever told that there was going to be an ongoing assessment for maintenance of our drains. And we have no input into that. So we all just got our winter tax bills, and all of a sudden we're all seeing we're being assessed. I was personally assessed $444 for maintenance of our drains. And also on that assessment, it included assessment for over $8,000 for construction costs that occurred over and above what was estimated, that were out of our control completely. And the project was completed in 2023. And so I reached out to Brian Sensi, and to be honest with you, through the entire project, his attitude is somewhere between inconsiderate and belligerent. And every time a member of our subdivision had any contact with him, he just shut us down. And because of that, there were many things in our subdivision that had to be redone at the end. Where my one neighbor here, he could not get out of his driveway without the middle of his boat trailer hanging up at the top of his driveway because they made such a peak on it. And there was other driveways that had to be the transitions that had to be redone. There was at the end of our street, there was a neighbor that had no road going to her home, and she was part of our subdivision. And so all these all became extra costs in fixing these problems. But now we're finding out we're being assessed for it. So we didn't make the mistake. It was an engineering failure. It was an oversight failure. It was a supervision failure. And now we're being assessed for those costs. And we're also being told we're going to be assessed to clean out our drains in 2026, which really, they don't need that. They don't need to be cleaned out. We have a very simple system going on that we're perfectly capable of monitoring and alerting the drain commissioner when it needs service. We don't need them to come out and inspect it. We don't need Brian Sensi to show up on our property and look at the drains and assumingly charge the drain commissioner's budget for his time there. We don't need him to do that. We can maintain that and observe that. So a couple of things have gone wrong here. Number one, we've received an assessment that we were never informed of. And by law, by state law, we have to be informed and have a right of hearing day for that. We were never allowed that. We just all of a sudden got assessments. And, you know, some people that have their property taxes in escrow, they're getting a bigger mortgage payment now that they didn't even know they were going to have.
Unfortunately, your 5 minutes are up, so.
So I guess in conclusion, there's cost overruns that weren't our fault. We were denied a day in review. We were also charged assessments that were outside of the statute that was for the time. So our project was completed in 23, and we're being assessed on statutes that allow maintenance costs much higher. So
Side note, I'll have our administrator reach out to you.
I would appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other public comment? Kowski?
Good evening. Interesting meeting today, but I want to appreciate Commissioner Walters trying to clarify for the people how the county should or should not get involved in housing. And I think it would be wise to listen to what he said. Michigan compiled laws MCL 46.11 does not call out the county commission to be involved in housing. It's not a mandated project by the law. We are wandering with our county into the wilderness of housing, which is not the county's business. One key element of what county commissioners or local government should do is, and the biggest indicator is if electors legally and lawfully petition you to do something. As to housing, we have never seen that happen here. But we've seen the county commissioners over the years self-initiate millages and all kinds of projects. Sure, they let us vote on it at a special off-time election when certain people were called to vote and others didn't vote. We got millages out of those things. So if the people haven't come in here with the proper lawful number of electors asking you to do something, I don't know why you're getting involved in it. Just having a meeting and talking about it costs money. And the point was made today, rightfully so, that there are experts trying to deal with this. Some are experts, some are non-experts, but they're dealing with this. Let them go on with their tasks. For our county to meddle in this area doesn't seem to make sense at all to an ordinary taxpayer, because all we're doing is spending taxpayers' money. We have another item here that it appears that this commission needs lots of help in preparing a resolution that will apologize for the clerk loathing motion of May 11, 2021, in which all the responsibilities and duties that the clerk had for finance and for human resources were removed immediately, which caused a tremendous amount of chaos in this county building among people. And the former administrator at that time called that decision a fiasco. He was so frustrated with what the commissioners did. So if you need help in putting a resolution together, we'll help you, but we believe it's necessary for you to do that as soon as possible. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Reasoner?
Bill Wiesner, Elmwood Township. And had no fraud, We need one person, one ballot, one vote, one day. Very simple. Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris would have voted for that in 2016 to 2018, plus another 20 Democrats, plus were complaining constantly about the election machines. They flip right in front of them. They say you can't do it. They've done it in Arkansas twice, no problem. It's the size of the town, not the township, but the town, yeah, the township and the unit of government. You can just make them smaller. This is a comparison of machines to hand counting. Hand counting would be 271 a ballot. Machines, just for this slice, just this one slice is 384. And then you have to add in all the election voting equipment, which is listed all through these details, and they don't give out those numbers. So it can be done easily. Maybe not easily, but we don't trust the machines for good reason. Here's what's going on. Here's an example. This guy, Hyder Garcia, he's a Venezuelan. He was, he helped Hugo Chavez. He was, worked for Hugo Chavez and Smartmatic for 12 years as one of their lead software engineers in Venezuela. And then after that, he left and went to the Philippines. And he was the leading of their elections, and there was rife with fraud. And the parliament talked to him afterwards. This is one of the guys. You can watch the video. They went irate. This guy just messed up the whole elections. And then he went to Tarrant County, Texas, one of the largest. That's Dallas, Fort Worth. It's right on the map there, that whole area. I think he went to Tarrant County first and flipped the election there. Then he moved to Dallas County and they ran him out of there. This guy, this podcast is all about that. He found all the fraud there. And then he went on to, yeah, it's at the end of this article. But then he went from Tarrant County to Dallas County, had a nightmare of election and got ran off there. And now where is he? In Tarrant County, they used Hart InterCivic machines. Now he is the vice president of customer success at Hart InterCivic. They say you can't make this stuff up. It's just beyond imagination what's happening. And this is the attitude. This is the Rasmussen poll. 62% of the American public in 2003 poll said they felt fraud determined the 2020 election. Can anybody who disagrees with that finally stand up, say why Hillary and Kamala were wrong or were right to have it then, but now we're not concerned about the machines? It just goes on and on. I could go through a lot more there, but I don't have the time. This is an article. I encourage you to go to the Kernel of Truth, Colonel Conrad Reynolds, and they go to Washington and they talk to the insiders. They say, well, people are listening. He says that they're going to hand mark paper ballots, and that's what we need. That's a good thing. Have precincts 2,000 or less, one day voting, and under a camera, okay, and count them that same night, or just you don't leave until they're counted. Everything's secure. Ty and I can either be across the table from each other or watch our selected people, and we can all have a good time. Well, what's happening now? And Jocelyn Benson threatening all the clerks, lost 8 court cases, withholding information with a FOIA request that was loyal, and you're smiling. I hope you can also speak and tell us why Kamala and Hillary were wrong. Thank you for your consideration.
Other public comment?
Josh Bauman, Elmwood Township. I just wanted to speak in support of the county having some influence or at least cognizance of housing initiatives in our county, because we have the most expensive county in the state, but we are not the most highest earning county in the state. So a lot of people that live here year round suffer with the problems of the inequality when people that buy up our lakeshore don't live here full year round. So yeah, our taxes have been more expensive than people that live here all the time because we live in a tourism economy. So I for one would very much like the decision-making of how we deal with this problem to be made by people that we've elected as our representatives to represent our best interests. I want the people of Leelanau County to be priority in Leelanau County. So I'm just speaking in support of, I think, having someone on at least with awareness of what the initiatives are in our area to create opportunities for those to buy. I think that's a good idea. That's it.
Good. Any other public comment? All right, thank you. Next up, we have commissioner comments. Commissioner comments? Go ahead, Russell.
I don't know if we all saw it, but our IT director reached out to us today and needs all of our laptops turned in next Thursday to upgrade the security system. Check your email. But it's a holiday time and I assume you got lots of emails, but I didn't see that today.
Mr. Robbins?
I'd like to touch on the first individual who just left us, hope Peter stayed here on the Lake Bluff drain district there. I hear a lot of things traveling up through the county and a lot of times I just kind of brush it off, but tonight he brought up something here and I think it's concerning. And it is about Brian Cincy. I'm hearing it from two other drain districts, how he treats the people, and we have a drain commissioner. Brian Cincy is not the face of Leelanau County, and I think I have to meet with the administrator or what, but I'm concerned with the remarks and stuff that how he's representing our county and these drain districts and treating people.
Any other commissioner comments?
When you said he, you meant Brian Cincy?
Yes.
Okay.
Earl Guard?
I wondered whether I should say this, but in case people have heard. So the road commission does an excellent job and those guys are out early, working really hard. Their machinery doesn't always work right. So 2 or 3 mornings ago, I think it was Sunday, we all woke up, there are 29 mailboxes knocked over on my road, which was pretty amazing. They don't usually, if it's 1 or 2, they can't replace, but they're going to replace those mailboxes as they're able in between keeping our roads drivable. So if anybody has heard that about the 29 mailboxes that got sliced off, the wing shovel or whatever it's called was not working. It does happen and they are going to make good on those mailboxes. So they make mistakes and they fix them.
Any other commissioner comments? All right, I'll close it out, just a little bit of a high note. I know last week we were talking about a lot of our elected department heads' salaries and everything, and there was some comments, just among discussion here about some of them may be overpaid. And I just wanted to get the word out to all of our elected department heads that this board supports you 100%. We appreciate what you guys do. I think you do a wonderful job. I personally do not believe anybody's overpaid. So, and I appreciate the work that they do, all of our elected department heads, and just the time they put in and the effort for this county. Appreciate it. So,
everyone have a good holiday.
That, we're on to approval of financials.
Sure. We're at amendments and transfers, and when you came in this evening, there were hard copies. One of them is to correct a mistake that I made, so I think two commissioners probably were aware of revenues not balancing to expenditure adjustments on budget amendment 2515. I own that. I fixed it, had the administrator review and sign. And so if the motion can say approve amendment number 2515 as amended, that would be great.
Right?
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve amendment number 2515 as amended. As amended.
Supported discussion?
Yes.
That was one of my questions on that amendment, the overspending or the county contractual services for the district court.
District court, we're going to amend the figure down because the bills that are coming in from Grand Traverse County.
Oh, you're changed. I'm sorry, I misread that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then we're amending court-appointed attorneys up in probate court just ever so slightly. And also contractual services for circuit court, we're amending up because those bills were higher this year.
And the donations from the sheriff on that amendment, were those classes?
No, this is a previous credit that had not been reflected in his budget line item.
Thank you.
I make a motion that.
Wait, we never.
No, you're good.
I never called the vote on that, so.
Oh, thank
Any
you.
discussion?
Okay.
Just thought of it as soon as I mentioned. Oh, any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right, Commissioner Bunny.
Okay.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve fiscal year 2025 amendment number 25-016.
Support. Moving supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
And also on the dais tonight, this is the first time you've seen the fund transfers. And so you did not get an e-copy of this. This is your hard copy for a fund transfer.
I make a motion that we approve fiscal year 2025 fund transfer number 25007.
Support. Supported, discussion?
Question on that one, the transfer into GTR.
Transfer out.
It's a transfer, well, maybe I should have said, well, it's a transfer in to communication project account.
Okay.
Because we're gonna pay for the balance of Midway through the communication tower or communication project fund.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. On to post audit and claims.
Make a motion that we approve post audit $3,017,686.56.
Supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
And I make a motion that we approve claims and accounts for $34,340,645. Even.
Supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
That was unplanned, even though we're going to go to a penniless society.
Kathy,
Thank you.
is that it there? All right, not, Merry Christmas and we're adjourned.
Congratulations, you made it a year with us so far.
The year ain't over yet.
That's true.
And the 30th, there, I didn't hear that. Yeah, so thank you. The first three did.
Well, that was right. We're gonna
First
each other again till then. What is?